What's up, guys? It's your girl Kizzy, and I'm back. I'm biggity bit back. I am here in action, in the flesh. Yeah. It's been a minute, I will say. You know, I noticed that my YouTube channel made a year a few months ago, and that was earth-shaking to me because I was like, so much has changed in a year. You know, I remember making that YouTube video. I'm so smiley, so if I'm just like the whole time just like take it in, okay? Just take it in, okay? I'm happy. I deserve to be happy. There's nothing wrong with being happy. But anyways, I'm happy to be back. But you know, looking at the first video I made, it's kind of wild to see the transition that I have done, the transformations, because, you know, in that video, I express how I want to change my life, you know, how I want to grow, what I want to do differently, what I want to look into, what I want to figure out, where I want to go. And I don't know if I said that already, and I found those things, you know, I've found myself. I've dug into myself, I've felt myself, I've healed and I'm healing myself in different aspects, in different wounds, in different circumstances. And it's interesting to see the transformation. Because I don't know if the person making that video thought that I would be this person here today. Like, I don't know if I thought at that time I was gonna be here. You know, I was gonna put in all that work that I said I wanted to put into put in all the work that I said I was going to put in to recognize who I am and acknowledge who I am and find who I am and stand up for who I am. And it's been a really wild journey, and I'm so grateful that I get to share it on this platform, on my platforms. I'm grateful that I have been given this opportunity to take up the space that I am and to be the person that I am, because I think that I can be such a light to this world, and I think that we need more light. You know, we need more people that are light, that deal with darkness, but do not let that darkness defeat them, so that those people that are light and have gotten through the darkness are able to come out of that darkness and be like, hey, you can see the light again. And that's essentially who I am. And I found my purpose, I found my mission, I found my passion, I found myself. And so overall, it's just been a really life-changing experience. I've shared, you know, getting my license on this YouTube channel. I've shared getting my car on this YouTube channel. I've shared my best friendship on this YouTube channel. And you know, I don't have that best friend anymore. I don't have that car anymore. Things just kind of changed. And I think that's the wicked thing about life. Wicked in a cool and like a weird way. I don't want to say bad, but like a weird way, just because it's like, it's wicked that, you know, my life was able to transform that fast. And like, you can see things on my YouTube channel that are no longer present because of my growth, because of where I'm going. And it's interesting to look back at and just see, like, I talked about this car, I talked about this friendship that I don't even have anymore. And it's just wild to think about that. Like, who would have thought I wouldn't have had that friendship? Who would have thought I would have crashed that car? Who would have thought? You don't really think. You just ask for growth, ask for change, set those intentions, and then the universe is like, all right, let's get her in. It's time to go. We got places to be, people to see, things to do. And I said, you are absolutely right. Of course, I definitely was struggling. Don't get me wrong. It's not all peaches and cream, tea and butterflies. It, like I said, it do be dark. But the light is coming to give back everything the darkness stole. The light is coming to give back everything the darkness stole. So, this is going to be similar to what I did the first round here. I'm going to answer questions that are in this bin. And these questions are a bit different. These questions are a bit deeper in a certain aspect, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna be a little bit vulnerable. We're gonna be a little bit funny. We're gonna be a little bit intelligent. We're gonna be a little bit goofy. We're gonna be a little bit intuitive. We're gonna be a little bit sassy. We're gonna be a little bit feisty. We're gonna be a little bit cool. We're gonna be a little bit of everything. Okay, let's get into it. What's something you love about yourself? I like that question. I probably like all these questions. So if I say, I like this question, I like this question, I like this question, don't come for me, because don't come for me, okay? What's something you love about yourself? I feel like the first thing that just came to my mind was my optimism. I think that I'm a very optimistic person. Even in the midst of chaos and darkness, I am still just very much like, nope, I'm not giving up. This is not winning. I am not turning into shit because other people have treated me like shit. I am not going to become what has hurt me. I am going to transform and transmute that pain and become something bigger and better for myself. You know, nobody is better than any one person, but it's like, I appreciate the aspect of me that is so optimistic and willing to just keep moving forward. You know, that resilience in a way that is to remain optimistic even when things may not always be bright, things may not always be happy, things may not always be peaches and cream, tea and butterflies, no tea, no hate, no shame, no shade. But yeah, I think my optimism and my resilience. How do you feel now in comparison to last year in the first YouTube video you made? I feel like that first YouTube video I made was the beginning of my evolution, the intention setting of my transformation, because I have changed a lot. And I think in comparison to last year, I feel like last year I was still feeling quite lost, still feeling quite like I was searching, you know, still feeling like I needed to do some soul searching and figure out what I really wanted, what I could do for myself, how I could heal myself. And I was in a space of just kind of getting started. But this year, I feel like I'm reaching a very important point of my life, a very classifying point of my life. Like I'm reaching my goal, my goals, myself. You know, I'm becoming who I've always been meant to be. And really stepping into that, you know, owning my power, owning who I am, embracing who I am, standing up for who I am. I think the person last year that I was not always sure about themselves, you know, if at all, was not in their power like I am today, was not accepting and loving of themselves like I am today. Even like as far as softness and vulnerability with myself and others, I don't think that was where I was at that time last year. And I feel like, you know, the universe had to take things away from me and really show me my life and unpack all the illusions in order for me to be who I am today. And so in comparison to last year, I feel great. I feel accomplished. I feel, which is interesting thinking about it on this video. I don't know if I've ever really thought about it. Like, I think a lot of times we don't really consider our growth until maybe we reach something that we feel is worth, oh, okay, now I've done this, now I can acknowledge this, this, and this. You know, it's like, I've done a lot to get here. I'm not gonna start crying, no. But I've done a lot to get here, and I think in comparison to who I was last year, they don't compare. I think they stand side by side and look at each other and they're like, I'm proud of you. And I am proud of you. I'm very proud of me. Despite whoever, wants to downplay that, even myself sometimes, or discount that, I've put in the work, and I think it's evident via my video last year and this video, and even just who I am today versus who I was last year. I think there's a clear difference, and so I feel great, and I feel accomplished, and I feel emotionally healthy more than I ever have in my entire life. What's something you've struggled with along this journey? Something I've struggled with along this journey, I feel, is patience with myself and others, but most importantly, I think patience with myself, just because I have been my own priority this past year. I think it's hard to practice patience and be patient and learn how to be patient with yourself when, for a large part of your life, you have been very critical of yourself or have had others be very critical of you. I think a lot of the times we want that instant gratification of, seeing our intentions manifest right away, or what we believe that we desire, we want it right away. But a big lesson I've learned is patience, because instant gratification is not all that exists. And who says that instant gratification is the best? I think we want things when we want things, even if it's mentally, we want to change our reprogramming. We want to change our thoughts right away, those negative thoughts that have been embedded in us for so long. We want to change that conditioning right away. We want to stop the negative thoughts or change the negative parts about ourselves right away. And we don't want to necessarily wait on it to change, because we want it now. Because if we can just have it now, we feel like we'd be okay. But the truth is, I feel like we have to go through these things so that we can learn patience with ourselves and others. Because I think as you're patient with yourself and learning patience for yourself, you realize other people need to be extended that same patience, that same even compassion. And so I feel like something I've struggled with is patience, because my inner critic is not patient. And I don't think I've ever been really patient. And I think that's something I got from my dad. But I've never really been somebody that is patient. And so to learn patience has been very hard, because I have been impatient, and I can be hot-tempered, and I can be short-tempered. And so it's just like I can be very snappy in that way. And when I want things now. And so the universe has had to humble me and show me that, babe, you need to calm down. Okay? You need to calm down. Things are happening as they're supposed to happen, when, how they are supposed to happen. And I need to just be patient, because I can't change years and years and years and years and years of condition and programming in 5 seconds and 5 days and 5 weeks. It's going to take a year or 2 or 3 or months or days, hours. And it's not something where I can just snap my finger. And I think it's important that I was taught that, and I think I needed to be taught that so that I could humble myself, right? Like, slow your roll, because you think, right? We think, oh, I want my manifestation to come in now, because if it comes in now, I'll feel better about da-da-da-da, right? And this is a prime example of patience. I want my manifestation to come in now, right? But the universe is like, you're not ready for that manifestation right now. And I'm like, but what do you mean? Like, I want it right now. I want it on my time, when I think I want it and when I think I need it, right? So I want it right now. And the universe is like, no, now is not the time. And it's hard for us to understand, because we're so impatient. We're like, why is it not the time? Da-da-da-da. We get stubborn, right? But then as you continue along the journey and it still hasn't happened, you realize, you go back to that moment when you're like, I want it now. And you realize, you know what? I was actually not ready in that moment. Because if that would have came when I wanted it to come, nah, Nah, I wasn't. You gotta be equipped too to handle whatever you're asking for. That's the other thing. And it's like, you want it, but are you ready for it? Are you prepared for it in whatever aspect that may be? And it's like, sometimes we're not, at least not to our fullest, best capacity. And that's where the universe is like, I need you to be patient. It's coming, and it'll come in divine timing. And that's another thing. We think we know what divine timing is over the universe. We don't. We don't. Everything is happening in divine alignment as it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen. I don't believe in coincidences. So, yeah. Get your iced coffee today. Yeah. Okay. She's a bad mama jamma. What motivates you to keep going? What motivates me to keep going? I feel like I am naturally a very driven person. I am a very very ambitious. When I want something, I will stop at nothing to get it or to keep it. And this goes for my relationships too. You know, when I really care about someone, I am not giving up on them easily. You know, I really fight for what I want. And in my life, since I've decided to focus on myself, I've really just been fighting for what I want. And I think what keeps me going is thinking of where I want to be, focusing on where I want to go. And also the idea that me doing this, what I'm doing, is allowing myself to pave the way for other people to do what I'm doing, to pave the way for other people to find themselves and see themselves and love themselves and be softer with themselves. And so, you know, besides being driven and being motivated for myself to reach my own goal and destination, I feel like what motivates me is the fact that me doing this is not just helping me. Me doing this is not just paving a way for me. Me doing this is not just doing something for me. It's really doing something for everyone around me. Family, friends, relationships, strangers, acquaintances, anybody that I come in contact with. And so I feel like that is something that gives me that hope. And it's like, you gotta keep going. You know, you gotta keep going because it gets bigger than you. Once you find your purpose and your passion, you're passionate about it and you feel it, but it gets bigger than you. It's not just about Bagonga! Excuse me. It's not just about me anymore. It's about fulfilling my purpose. It's about fulfilling my mission. It's about fulfilling my task as a person here on earth. And it's like, who gonna say no to that? Because I ain't saying no. I ain't saying no. And so I think really the resilience I have is just within me. Honestly, it's something that kind of comes naturally, but I think I have to really think about, did I come this far just to come this far? If I stop now, what is the trickle-down effect of that? If I keep going, what does that mean for me? And you really just gotta weigh it out. And I think every time I weigh it out, because I don't really feel like I weigh it out, I feel like regardless, I'm always like, I'm gonna keep going. Period, point blank, period, dot. Okay? I'm not stopping. Because another thing is, people want you to stop. People want you to go back to who you used to be. People want you to dim your light. People want you to make yourself small so that they feel better about themselves, so that they don't have to change, so that they don't have to look at themselves, so that they don't have to acknowledge who they are for who they are and you for who you are. But it's like, I'm not doing that, you know, and that's another part of it. It's just like, I'm doing this for me. And you know, I've had so many people on my path try to stop me in different ways or try to hold me down, hold me back, control me essentially. And it's just like, I cannot be controlled. So it's kind of like proving a point in that way, but like not necessarily. You know, my haters are in my mind. They're back there, but like they're not at the forefront. They're not at the forefront. The people that need me and value me and see my worth and can acknowledge me for who I am, those are the real ones. Those are the real ones. But I mean, love to everybody. No tea, no hate, no shade, no shade. Okay, no tea, no. To others, it can seem like you have your shit together. Do you? To others, it can seem like I have my shit together. Do I? I do not. Let's start there. I do not. And I think that's the misconception about people who are more in the public eye than others. You know, people that put themselves out there are seen and put on this pedestal of like, oh, whatever that is. And it's just like, I'm not gonna say I'm a mess. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm chaotic. I'm not gonna say I don't know certain things or have certain things in order, but I definitely don't have my shit together. And I think nobody in the world really has their shit together because something is always happening. If it's not one thing, it's another, which means you can never really have your shit together because there's always something else that's like, okay, so we're gonna do like this. Oh, and you need to do something about that. You know, so there's always something to put your mind to and focus on. So I would not say I have my shit together. And I think anybody that says they have their shit together, truthfully, wholeheartedly, 100% is lying. I think maybe I have a percentage of my shit together, but do I have all my shit together? No. I'm a person just like you. I have flaws just like you. I have bad habits just like you. I have negative thoughts just like you. I have self-doubt just like you. I have fears just like you. I have all of these things that everybody else has, but I think it's the way in which I handle them. Like I was mentioning before, you know, I'm very driven and ambitious, and so I think, and I'm also a light, so I think people can see me as that and be like, oh, what are her problems? She doesn't have any problems. She's living lavish. And I feel like that's not true. You know, I do have problems and I do have issues and things to work on, and I'm not perfect. And I do make mistakes, and I'm just not perfect, and I don't have my shit together, at least all the time, if at all, you know? And so it's interesting to me that I might be perceived in that way. And I feel like, you know, as a leader taking on the position that I am, to a degree, if we're being honest, I do have to have my shit together. Like I was saying, like I might have a percentage of my shit together, but am I 100% put together in a bow, wrap it up? No. And I think that's the other thing where people see me and they're like, whoa, look at the energy, look at the vibe, look at this, look at that. But they fail to realize I'm still a person. So they fall in love with the idea of me, the thought of me, who I am on the surface, without realizing that I have depth. I have depth. I have issues. I have flaws. I have other things besides my energy, besides my looks, besides being sexualized, besides being objectified. I am a person with a personality, with family members, with friends. I'm not exempt just because this is my position in my life. And that's another thing. It's like, to be in the public eye, I think requires this level of vulnerability that I was afraid of, you know? I felt like for a long time, I have to be perfect if I'm gonna be this. I have to be this way if I'm gonna be this. I have to act like this if I'm gonna be this. I have to do this if I'm gonna. It was always like there's a specific way that I have to be in order to be who I am, in order to thrive, in order to succeed, in order to be. And I've realized that's a lie. That's a lie that we've been conditioned to believe, and also that we've just learned through our relationships, friendships, all relationships. It's just like when people can tear you down so much, you start to tear yourself down. And when you start to tear yourself down, it breaks you. And so, you know, you want to hide and you want to dim your light and you want to be afraid. And it's like, I think I've learned and I'm learning, I don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be afraid. You know, we can be ourselves. And I think for a long time, I've been afraid to say, you know, I'm not perfect. Even though I've said it and I already know I'm not perfect, I think in some aspects we do think that we have to be perfect because this person said so. Because if we're not perfect, what are we? Are we okay if we're not perfect? You know, it's like, if you're not a specific way that somebody else thinks or perceives you should be, they can invalidate you. They can make you feel like less than. And so that's where we get translated to, and where we translate things to, if I'm not perfect, I'm bad. If I'm not perfect, I'm not correct. And who wants to be incorrect? Who wants to be bad? And so that's where we force ourselves to act like we have our shit together, to act like we are perfect, to act like these things. And it's like, we don't have to do that. And so, you know, I don't have my shit together, and that's okay. I don't think anybody has their shit together. And that's life. Period. Dot. Next question. Share something vulnerable. Share something vulnerable. What comes to my mind? I feel like what came to my mind was the loneliness of the journey. How lonely the journey can be. I think that, you know, I'm a very strong person, and I'm strong-willed, and I have a hard time asking for help. I have a hard time being vulnerable with people that I encounter in my relationships because I feel like I have to have this defense up. I feel like I have to protect myself at all costs in all ways. So it's like there's already this guard up because I feel like if I let down that guard, I will be taken advantage of like I was in my past. I will be dismissed. I will be invalidated. I will be judged. I will be misunderstood. For a long time, I think I was afraid of being misunderstood and judged and all of these things. But I've realized that that's okay. You know, it's okay if I'm judged wrong. You know, it's like, what is wrong? If somebody has an opinion of me, that's okay for them to have that opinion. If somebody doesn't like me, it's okay for them to not like me. If somebody misunderstands me, it's okay for them to misunderstand me. But as humans, we've been so conditioned to, you know, need connection, and we do need connection. But I feel like at what point do we realize when connections are costing us ourselves? And so, you know, this has been a lonely journey because of that, in an aspect of like, I've had to let go of people and things that no longer serve me, that I thought would be in my life forever, that I thought would be with me on my journey, period. And, you know, through letting things go that I used to be so attached to and that I, in a way, depended on, it's like, it becomes lonely. Because you lose that connection. And as humans, we want that connection. We need that connection to survive. And so it can become lonely. And it can feel isolating. And if this is you, I'm here for you. And I see you. And I acknowledge you and what you're experiencing. Because I like being alone. But I think, you know, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone and feeling lonely. Being alone and feeling isolated. And so when you've been in so many situations where it feels like nobody wants to just hug you and truthfully hug you and tell you that they love you for who you are, they care about you for who you are, and that they don't want you to change anything, they don't want you to be anything different, they don't want you to keep your guard up, and they really create a safe space for you, you know, it's an interesting dynamic, because that's what we crave. That's what I crave. That's what I want. But at this point in my life, I haven't always received that. And so that's what has really kept me on guard and caused me to feel like I can't open up. I can't be vulnerable. I have to be on defense. I have to be perfect because I don't want to be lonely. But it's like, sometimes you gotta be lonely, you know, temporarily. And you don't always have to be lonely. You don't always have to feel lonely. You know, I think it'll go back and forth. And feeling lonely is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think the way that we construct it in our minds, it just feels very isolating. And it feels like you're an outsider. You know, it feels like you don't belong. Like you haven't found that space of belonging. And I feel like for me, I haven't really found that real space of belonging where I'm surrounded by people who crave and want and dig and are into the same things as me and genuinely love me for who I am and around my vibration and level of consciousness. And so, yeah, I guess my vulnerable thing is that I feel lonely sometimes, and I have been made to feel isolated, and I am opening myself up to creating real connections now and making new friends and finding my soul family that will really see me for who I am and accept that. You know, there won't be any weird vibes, there won't be any weird intentions, there won't be any passive aggression, there won't be anything besides love, real love and support. Because people that, you know, I've thought were with me for me in my life have turned out to not really be with me for me, because like I said before, they just see my energy, they just see what I have to give, not really who I am as a whole person. And they try to control aspects of me, they try to change aspects of me because I'm not doing what they think I should do or how they think I should do it. And so it's caused, like I said, that defensiveness. But I think I'm stepping out of that now, and I'm learning how to be softer with myself, and I'm learning that to be lonely is not necessarily a bad thing, and that sometimes it's just part of the journey. And just because I'm lonely doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. Just because I'm not surrounded by people, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It just means I haven't found that for me, and that's okay. You know, it'll come when it's supposed to come. And you know how they say, it's lonely at the top. Sometimes it's lonely, especially on the journey, because everybody can't come. Period, point blank. Everybody can't come. And if you're on the journey right now trying to bring this person and that person and that person, I'm going to need you to stop doing that, because everybody can't come. No. And that's what I had to learn too. I kept trying to bring people with me so I wouldn't be lonely, so I wouldn't disconnect from people, so I wouldn't. But it's like, sometimes you gotta sacrifice. You know, sometimes you gotta sacrifice people, places, things, ideas, beliefs, detachment. And stop trying to bring people with you that are not supposed to be with you. Okay? Just stop. Just stop. Love you. What are tower moments? Share one of your own from this past year. Oh! Now, I'm not going to get into the whole story right now. But tower moments are essentially moments in life where you feel everything crumbling. And so the tower in the tarot deck is a tower that's on fire and people are falling out of it. Essentially, it's like the crumbling of something, the breaking down of a foundation, of a thought, of an idea. And so you can have tower You can have tower moments mentally where it's like you're disconfiguring illusions. And so, when you snap out of an illusion, that is a tower moment, because it's like you saw something this way, completely this way, and you only viewed it as that, and you really stuck to that view of it, only to realize, wait a minute, that was actually something I literally created. That was literally a fantasy, literally a fallacy, literally not at all the reality. And that's when the tower moment happens, because then you realize, oh, so that was actually this and this and this and this. And that's the moment where in your mind it's like, pew, but everything's like, because it's falling. It's falling. You can no longer pretend that you don't know that this right here, illusion, is really this right here. And then in life, it's like when I crashed my car. I had my car, and then suddenly I didn't. And so when you go from having a car to getting in a car accident and no longer having your car, that's an example of a tower moment in life, because it's like you lose something that you in a way depended on, were attached to, and used in your daily life. It's like big moments in life, or I guess noticeable, recognizable moments in life, where you go from one view of something to another view of something. Even if it's like your stability within. If you think, no, like I actually like the color pink. And then it's like, well, actually, I don't like the color pink, because I realized that when I was younger, somebody told me that. Like, it's like unpacking those illusions in your mental space. And then in life, it's like those catastrophic, but not even necessarily like always catastrophic situations that happen, and you're like, oh wow. It's like that, like, oh wow, oh what? That's what, oh. And it shifts your whole world, because it's like, and that's what they're meant to do. They're meant to kind of realign you. They're meant to kind of mess up whatever foundation you think you had, or whatever attachment you think you had, and allow you to get back where you need to be. And so one of my tower moments from this past year, I feel like would be the end of my best friendship. I think that, I really thought that this person was my best friend, and I genuinely, wholeheartedly felt safe with her, and I felt secure, and I felt loved, and I felt all of these great things. And we'd always be like, it would always be this thing of like, oh, we're never gonna argue, oh, da, da, da. But I was always like, I feel like we might. And it's like, there's a reason for that, right? Like, I wouldn't just think that if everything was sweet and dandy, da, 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 how I might have perceived it to be. And so, our relationship ended abruptly, and we were living together. So that means, we could no longer live together. That means that, whatever I thought that friendship was is actually edited. And that's where I realized that in a lot of my relationships, I do this thing where I can build people up so high, and I can ignore things and not speak up on things that I might see or feel or recognize, because I'm afraid of losing them. I'm afraid of it being true. I'm afraid of not having them. I'm afraid of that disconnection. And I'm afraid, I think, of that change, that realization. Like, yeah, what you thought that to be is not actually what it was. And I think that's why the universe did that for me. And I guess us, because sometimes you don't see situations until you're out of them. And so for me and my best friend, I think, there was definitely love there, but it was also unhealthy in certain ways. And I think it was also inappropriate in some ways. And I think that really stepping out of that relationship and being able to look back at it with a clear perspective and a better perspective really helped me to realize that, that was an illusion. and that there were certain things we were both doing and not doing in order to be in that friendship. And there were certain power dynamics, and there were certain things that happened or weren't said or were said that just construed the whole relationship. And I think it's part of my life's evolution, my soul's evolution, because I think I needed that to happen in a relationship that I really thought was everything to me. And I don't regret anything, but I really thought that relationship was everything to me. And so it's like the rug was literally pulled from under me when it all happened. And I was so seemingly confused and not understanding. But then as time went on, I was able to look back and see where I might have gotten intuitive nudges, where I might have felt something but didn't say something, where I might have felt like I should set a boundary, where I might have felt like I needed to talk to her but didn't about this or that or that. Or where I felt like she might have wanted to talk but didn't talk, or where she might have felt this and I might have like, there's just things you realize out of relationships that you don't realize in relationships. And I think this tower moment was a way for the universe to really show me how I can build people up in my mind and create such fantasies and fallacies and illusions around people, because I found myself not just in this relationship but other relationships being like, why do I feel like I really don't know this person? Like, you shouldn't step out of a relationship and be like, I never actually knew this person. Who actually even is this person? Da 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 da. Like, especially if you're calling them your best friend. So I feel like that was a tower moment of this past year that really took me for a loop. It really shook me. It's a pain that I've never really felt in my life. I don't really wish it on anybody. But I've cried lots of tears about it. I've done lots of healing on it. I've done lots of introspection on it. I've done lots of feeling on it. Adult tantrums on it, you know, on my knees crying. Like, it was really something where it was like, again, those moments where you feel your heart breaking. Like, you just feel it. And it just feels like the rug was taken out of you. It feels like you were bamboozled or like betrayed, sidelined, because you don't really expect it. And then it happens and you're like, oh shit. So I'm disappointed actually, but I'm not surprised. And so tower moments really cause you to look at things and understand things and start from a different foundation and start from a different, new, fresh level in a way. And I will soon be, you know, sharing more on that experience, but that is just something that I can say right now really took me for a loop. That was one of the tower moments this past year that was earth-shaking, to be honest. Next question. What brings you back to YouTube? Ooh, well, you know, I wanted to give myself a real shot. I wanted to come back and, I don't know, reflect on who I was last year when I started the channel, but also start sharing my voice more, sharing my wisdom, sharing my knowledge, because I think it's needed and I think it's wanted by certain people and I think it's valued by certain people. And so, you know, I think it'll allow me to really find my group, find my support, find my team. And I'm excited. I think that, you know, being back on YouTube is going to allow me to share my wisdom, share my knowledge, use my voice, practice using my voice, embrace who I am, and allow me to open up to and become more vulnerable in ways that I haven't maybe in the past. And it's exciting. So I think what brings me back to YouTube in total is my mission, my purpose, and where I want to be, where I want to go. And you know, you can't get where you want to go without giving yourself a shot. You can't get where you want to go if you're sitting back on the sidelines. You can't get where you want to go if you're hiding. So I'm coming out. I want the world to know. I got to let it show. I'm coming out. I'm coming. And I'm divinely supported and protected in that. So yeah, I'm back. How has it been learning to forgive yourself for your past actions or even inactions? It's been hard. I can't even flex. It's been hard because I think in my past, I have made decisions that me would look at now and be like, why did I make that decision? I'm so sorry that I made that decision or didn't make that decision and hurt that person. I'm so sorry that I did make that decision or didn't make that decision and hurt myself. I'm sorry that I overstayed my welcome in spaces that were abusive, emotionally and physically and mentally and spiritually. I'm sorry that I overstayed my welcome in certain friendships. I'm sorry that I ignored my intuition. I'm sorry that it's like I just feel like it's hard, and it's been hard for me to forgive myself for those things because the me now is just so different that I'm like, it's like regret, but not regret because I don't regret anything, but there's an aspect of like, damn, if only I did that differently, or like, why did I do that, or like, how come I couldn't see that? Like, it's that aspect of like kind of fighting yourself on what you did and didn't do in the past. And you know, it's in a way not accepting. Bagonga, excuse me. It's like not accepting what you did in the past, and you know, kind of wanting to fight against that. But I think I'm learning that my past does not define who I am today, and that my past is not the end of my story, and that just because that's what happened in the past, that doesn't mean that's what has to happen in my future or my present, and that I can be different, and that it's okay to forgive myself because I am different, because I have chosen to be better, because I have apologized, because of my true intentions, because, you know, there's so many reasons why you can find to forgive yourself, but sometimes it's hard because you want to find reasons not to forgive yourself because you feel like, well, that shouldn't have happened in the first place. Why did I do that in the first place? I can't understand that in the first place. It upsets me that happened in the first place. As I said, like, there's just so many things. And so it's like kind of this back and forth, kind of this process, I guess, with anything, as far as forgiving myself. It's just like, it's not easy. But I think as you continue practicing it and you continue doing it, it does get easier. It does get easier. Last question. Earth is a school, karma is the homework. Elaborate on this idea. So, Earth is a school. We've all come to Earth for our soul's evolution. I'm about to get real right now. So if you're not ready, don't come for me. Don't judge me. You can misunderstand me. That's fine. I'm sure that, yeah. But if you don't get it, you don't get it. The girls that get it, get it. The girls that don't. Obviously don't get it, because not that girl. If the shoe don't fit, don't try to make it fit. If the shoe don't fit, don't try to force it. If your shoe did not fit, would you try to force it on your foot so you would hurt your foot? No, you wouldn't. You would just be like, oh, that doesn't fit, and move on. So if it doesn't fit, move on. Yeah. Okay, so we've come to Earth for our soul's evolution. And so Earth is essentially a school. You know, our karmic connections, our karmic situations, and karma. I'm getting so excited. Okay. Earth is a school. Earth is a school, and karma is the homework. Good and bad karma. Sometimes you get good karma, sometimes you get bad karma. But Earth being a school, aka Earth is a school that you learn lessons in. Therefore, these lessons, whether or not you decide to transform them, transmute them, actually see them, actually heal them, actually resolve them, is how you get your karma, which is your homework, which on your homework you get grades, which therefore concludes how you will go about this Earth school, which concludes if you're passing, if you're failing, if you're doing okay. I think how you handle your lessons, how you handle your karma, is in turn how you are living your life. So if you and vice versa. So if you reap what you sow. So if you are not participating in Earth School, as in, focusing on your lessons, learning your lessons, paying attention to what happens in your life, you are then going to receive the karma for ignoring that, or for treating yourself in a negative way, or treating others in a bad way, or just not having pure intentions. Versus, if you're living well, doing well, being well for yourself, you're gonna reap that good karma. Means you're gonna have a good life, because you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, and so it's just like Earth is a school. Everything you experience is a lesson, whether or not you see that or believe that or not. It is a lesson. And there's always something that you can learn in a connection, in a situation, in any aspect. There's always something that you can learn. And so whether or not you choose to learn the lesson, whether or not you choose to look at yourself and look at the people around you and look at the things and really introspect and evaluate your life, is dependent on you. Whether or not you choose to do the homework, which is your karma, which is sorting out your karma, which is dealing with your karma, which is analyzing your karma, is dependent on you. Whether or not you handle the karma, whether or not you take the lessons, depends on how your life is going to pan out. Earth is a school. You can't get the degree if you're not focused on doing the homework. You can't graduate if you're not focused on getting to the next level. And as you complete these karmic cycles, as you clear out your karma, good or bad, you are elevating to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. So essentially, the more that you heal, the more that you take in these lessons, the more that you analyze yourself and others and the things around you and just your life in general, the more that you succeed, the more that you open your heart, the more that you learn and grow and elevate. But if you refuse that, like I have in the past, you have to go through lessons, you have to go through hardship, you have to go to you have to go through trials and tribulations. And sometimes that's what it takes to get you where you need to be. I'm living proof, baby, okay? But if you do the work, you will get there. You will get there. And, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to use my voice, because I've learned that my voice does matter, and people can silence me in situations and circumstances and relationships, but they cannot silence me in my life, and they cannot silence me forever, and they cannot silence you forever. They cannot. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss it, okay? You do not want to miss it, okay? If you like this video, let me know. If you didn't, I understand. I'm not meant for everyone, and I'm learning that. And everybody is not meant for me, and everybody is not meant for you, and you are not meant for everyone. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great afternoon, evening, day, hour, second, minute, and I am sending you so much love.